Hey, it's Todd Ault. It is the December 5th. It's the 5th of December, 2022. We're going to blaze right on into 2023. It's episode 243. Skyla, you've been traveling around the globe with me, have you not?
It's been wild. We got back last night.
I kind of nonstop, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of nonstop, we're going to have Maria Bartiromo on the show. Yeah, that's right, by the way. The iconic Maria Bartiromo. She's our special guest on my podcast. It was kind of cool. Were you here for that, Skyla?
I was sitting right here.
The whole time?
I was.
Yeah, I like that a lot. On December 15th, Maria Bartiromo will be on the show. She will be talking about all kinds of subjects, including Fox News, which I thought was really cool. Brett, what did you think of that? Can you talk? Can you pull that up?
Yep, here I am. You can hear me.
Everyone can hear you now?
They can hear me. I thought it was an excellent interview.
Yeah, I really
fascinating.
enjoyed that for sure. That was really kind of crazy. I was a little blown away. Obviously, I'm blown away. Before we get to Maria, I'm a little blown away with the reaction to the contemplated tender offer. Never seen something go down on a contemplated tender offer. Something you have to do when you're. We're going to get back to that in a second, actually. I'm still mesmerized by, after 33 years of doing this, stocks will go higher than you ever thought possible and lower than you ever thought imaginable, and people will do foolish things. It is what it is. I watch those things happen. I really wish my phones weren't ringing, but I'll make sure I shut them off. Anyways, Brett, let's roll the clip.
I do think we are about to hit some serious curveballs coming at us in terms of the economy. I do think 2023 is going to be a very tough year. But I also think that the U.S. is resilient and, it will get through it. I would not be surprised to see a repeat of some of the behavior that we've seen in other crashes, frankly, because of those reasons. You have people who've never experienced it before, and you just have speculators, and they come in different forms.
Like I said, I was a little mesmerized with. Well, let me get back to Maria. I love the interview. I've obviously seen her in most of my. I don't know about all my adult life, but I remember her being on CNBC. She's been around forever. She's iconic. It's going to be fun to watch her on the show. She was really, really gracious and spent a lot of time with us, and was really kind of an open book. I kind of had a great time. I wish Jason was here. He doesn't feel well. I'm going to give some commentary at the end of the show about a few things. I get a lot of questions about Niall, which I can barely answer because when you do a contemplated tender offer, you go into a realm where you're not allowed to talk about the price of the tender, the structure, until you file it with the SEC. So I've got to be very cautious is what I say here. But a tender is what it is. It's either a buyback or an exchange offer. In this case, it's an exchange offer. And I just would read the press release and do your own homework because I'm mesmerized by that. But speaking of your own homework, we decided to bring a special guest on because I happen to like financial planning. Bernard Barchie, that's how you say it, Barchie, is the CEO of BBig Financial Solutions. He teaches wealth strategies to entrepreneurs. Bernard, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Todd. Great to be here.
Yeah, so you're a local guy, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah, Henderson, Nevada.
Did you grow up here?
No, born and raised in Pittsburgh. I've been in Las Vegas for about 22 years.
Well, first of all, we should have started off the whole show with that because I am a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Me too.
I've liked the Pittsburgh Steelers since I was a little kid. A little kid. Jason happens to be my partner in crime here who does the show with me. He happens to be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan too. And I've been to Pittsburgh actually only one time. What a beautiful city. I'm not kidding. Right there where the stadium is and the town is so nice. Yeah. It's incredible.
Yeah, the outskirts is still a little run down, but man, what they did to the city is incredible.
Are you old enough to remember the Jack Lambert and Joe Green and when Terry played, and Lynn Swan, John Starworth, Rocky Blyer, Franco Harris.
Yeah, those are my errors. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
So
So
it gives my age away.
I was taken to the Super Bowl for the first time. I lived in like HUD housing. I was in Fullerton, but my mom had a boyfriend who was who put on these they called meeting services. He did this speaker thing where they would like have events and parties, and he went and installed them. So he had to do it for the Super Bowl. So he invited me up there. I was like 9 or 10 years old, and that was the year that Terry Bradshaw. I'm sure he's been on the cover a million times, but there's a picture of him dropping back on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and I played for the Steelers and Pop Warner for most of my life, and then I just became a huge iconic fan in the 70s, and I've never stopped being a fan.
Yeah, you got to see my car.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when people become Pittsburgh Steelers fans, you know why I'm going to tell you the number one reason why I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I told you we should have started talking about it from the beginning. The number one reason I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Can anyone guess how many coaches, Skyla, how many coaches in the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers have they had?
I am the worst person to ask, but my guess is 3.
You know, I saw you telling him. He did that to you. I saw that.
And you
I'm not an
probably
idiot.
see it on the screen too, but I am the worst person to ask about that. I have no knowledge.
I can't stand, Bernard, the idea of how disloyal teams are, how quickly they fire coaches. They don't provide any kind of synergy or allow things to groove over time. But the Steelers have been consistent winners because they stick with a strategy. They don't change coaches all the time. They don't fire players all the time. They stick with a quarterback and let him develop. They have a proven method of just being loyal to hiring the right people and letting the strategy play out. Why is it you think the Steelers do that, and all these other teams like the Indianapolis Colts are switching head coaches, and they're just like they're a year or two into it, they don't like someone, they got rid of them. I can't understand it.
Yeah, I know. If I'm going to get myself in trouble, you're talking about the Raiders too.
Oh, the Raiders.
I'm just saying it's the same thing. They move around and all that stuff like that. Running the Steelers, I look at it, and that's the way you should run a business too. You stick with people and you just do what you have to do. And
right.
I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, but I do respect the city and what they have done with the team and everything like that.
Right. Yeah, I would say for your business, you got to do the same thing. You have to develop a strategy and stay with it, even when people don't like the strategy at that moment, even when they're short timers and they want the coach to be fired. Sometimes it's better to see the thing through.
110.
So we could go all over the map, and I know you help fund small businesses, one of the reasons you're on here.
Absolutely.
But I want to talk about just one thing, and that is I'm a huge advocate of life insurance. And I don't sell it, so I want to be clear. Those of you who know me, I'm not selling you life insurance, although I did when I was at Prudential. We had it available. But I bought a ton of life insurance when I was younger. So ironically, if someone were to kill me now, my wife, well, she wouldn't be, the life insurance is smaller than it used to, well, my net worth is bigger than the life insurance, but there was a time and place for a long time where that would have been a substantial amount of money for her. But talk to people about why they should get life insurance.
Yeah, what I end up focusing on is not the point of buying life insurance, is how to use it. And there's a strategy out there that if the banks are using life insurance, we should too. And I've only focused on, different strategies that have been used. Now, the banks are in business just to make money. And if they use life insurance, what's the reason why? So I started really digging deep into that strategy. Now, just so you're aware, the banks don't purchase life insurance for any other reason than to protect the money, because it's a private contract. The government can't touch life insurance. So banks and corporations can lock 25% of their net worth into this. I pulled up the bank's balance sheets, and it's the number one asset on the bank's balance sheet.
Really?
And if they're doing that, they're doing it for a reason. And that's what I started focusing on. I started teaching people. And I didn't do this when I was back in the days because, when I started doing this is what I started with my own company. My company I fund my business using life insurance. And all it is it's money. I create my own line of capital by utilizing a life insurance policy. And the different strategies you can do with it, it's outrageous. The sky's the limit. But you just got to know how to use the machine, not just buy it, because you're not leaving it to your loved ones as a death benefit. You're going to teach them how to use it and start building more wealth. Now, there's a book out there called What Would the Rockefellers Do? And it specifically focuses on how they built their net worth using life insurance.
Really?
It's a really good strategy.
What is it? The tax deferral part of it?
Yeah, you get all the benefits out of life insurance. Now, when the banks end up using it, and if you're okay, banks make money off of our money.
Sure. I mean, they take our money on deposit.
And who protects it?
And they lend it out. Well, the government gives you a limited amount of insurance.
The banks don't even protect our money. So we hand our money to the banks. The banks don't protect it, but the banks are going to use our money and lock it into life insurance for protection. But they're protecting the money from the government because it's a private contract. So Bank of America has $24 billion locked into life insurance. Now, in a savings account, what are they giving you?
No idea.
0.01.
Right.
7,200 years to double your money doing that strategy.
Well, rates have recently come up.
And not in the banks yet.
Not by much,
Yeah.
right?
And then if you're going to end up, they're making 5.25% using life insurance. So that's $24 billion growing at 5.25%.
Right.
And then they're going to lend us money and they're going to charge us a higher interest rate. So I'm just saying if the banks use life insurance, why are we buying it? We can utilize the same strategy. So not only my business funding program, I teach businesses how to utilize life insurance to pay their bills. You got a mortgage, you can pay off your mortgage using life insurance and build all your wealth at the same time. It's incredible.
So is it like a variable policy?
Now, what they have, the only structures you can do with this, you take a dividend-paying whole life, but it's structured for banking. So these are what I call, whole life on steroids.
Are there a lot of whole life companies out there left? A lot of them have demutualized, right?
There's a lot of these companies that for one thing, they won't even teach the agents how to use it. Now, the way these strategies work, when you take a loan from a bank, you have to pay it back, correct?
Sure.
When you're taking a loan from an insurance company, you don't have to pay it back.
Well, the premiums basically the earnings can pay it back over time, right?
Where what you end up doing is when you pass away too, it comes off the death benefit.
Right, I've seen that. Right, you have a policy for $1 million, you borrowed out $200,000. The death benefit's $1 million minus what's been taken out. You get $800,000.
That's why it's powerful for business owners. You could pay your bills and never pay that loan back, and that money just keeps moving through it. And every time you add in every single month, you're fattening your piggy anyhow.
Right.
And that just allows you to borrow more money. You could pay down your debt using life insurance a lot faster. You can pay off your mortgage within 12 years if you're taking out a 30-year mortgage using life insurance. It's just a whole different way to look at it is what I focus on. If you need a term, we could do a term. But, terms are designed for asset protection.
Sure.
They're not designed for people in general.
Well, or that or death, right?
Yes.
Or that or which is effectively asset protection.
Absolutely. And
Right.
they're decreasing terms is what they were designed for.
Right. No, I've definitely seen policies on the variable side. You don't use variable at all?
I do, but that all depends on each client.
Right.
What I want to do is educate them how to utilize life insurance, see if that fits into their strategy.
Right.
Everybody's got to pay their bills. Everybody does.
We'll talk about business funding. I know you said you did that. You provide that.
Yeah.
And by the way, you should know, but long before I raised money being public as a public company, we had to fund the businesses privately. We funded Alzheimer's Neuro privately. We funded MTIX private. There's a lot of things we've done privately before they were public. It's a very common thing. But not everyone wants to raise. I think we've raised somewhere around, I can't remember the number, around $400 million. Not everyone needs to raise that kind of money to run their business. Do you specialize in what amount do you try to help people raise?
Well, our program's designed because a lot of small businesses, you heard the statistic, 8 out of 10 small businesses shut down within the first 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, our goal is to
I think it's like the
that.
first 5 years.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think it's 10.
Yeah.
I think it's 5.
Not many people hit the 10
Not
mark.
many people
Absolutely.
make the 10-year mark.
And our goal is to eliminate that. And it's what at BBig Financial Solutions, what I started my company because we focus on wealth building strategies, and starting a small business is a wealth building strategy.
Sure.
However, setting it up correctly is a problem. They don't set you up for financial success. They can set you up with legally you can be considered a corporation, but when you go to try to apply for funds, you get turned down.
Well, I think what's happened is people get romanticized by the Facebook Effect, that movie, which was the social network where you're in your dorm room, you come up with an idea, you get funding from a few buddies, you go to a venture capital firm, and all of a sudden you raise $500,000. Then you get another big valuation, raise 10 million,
Sure.
and they don't realize when you get romanticized like that, you see it on social media that this guy got this funding, and you see this rapper with this Lamborghini. They don't realize that they're seeing that the exception, not the rule. That a vast majority of businesses have to grind it out to get any capital, and a capital is not available like they see on social media, where it's so interesting. It's such a small group of people getting that kind of funding, but it looks like because it's in your network that it's happening everywhere. Everyone's business is getting funded.
Yeah.
But what does the common business do to raise capital?
Most of them are going to apply with the SBA.
Right.
And when they go to try to apply, or even local banks, they'll go to a bank and they'll get turned down. They're just not set up to qualify. Or if they do qualify, it's off their personal credit. Well, the whole idea, what we're trying to do is we're going to eliminate the personal credit. We're going to help you build your business credit so you can qualify for funds. Now, going through the program, we're a grant subsidized program through the SBA. So we're educating small businesses.
Right.
Government, who pays more in taxes? Big corporations or small businesses?
Definitely small business.
Absolutely.
Not
So
even
the-
a question.
So the government needs small businesses.
Right.
So they love our program. So we're going to help small businesses qualify. So that means you can stay afloat, and now you can pay more on taxes. However, we're going to show you how you can't.
Right.
At the same time, we're going to show you how to utilize life insurance, pay your bills, capture all your wealth, and eliminate as much taxes as you possibly can. But we go 250,000, we do it on a minimum. A lot of small businesses only need that little bit of money like that just to project them to the next area. However, we can go qualify for more. We're doing a project here in Las Vegas is 150 mil. So we have no issues going for more. Your business just has to qualify for it.
Sure.
And that's our whole focus is, and as I was mentioning earlier, 27 mistakes that can turn you down for funding. Our goal is to help eliminate those. I had a corporate attorney set me up, and it cost me $1,600, but they didn't set me up for financial success. So when I went to try to borrow, I couldn't do my business credit. The only thing I could use is my personal. And a lot of small business owners really destroy their personal credit starting their business. So our goal is to, build your business credit, get your credit to business to start qualifying for itself.
Right. You get a lot of companies that you've been part of ever go public or no?
I'm with one right now through the insurance division that we went public because we have an investment opportunity, and it's socially responsible. It's called VivaCore, and that just went public for us.
Yeah. We went to VivaCore, do you remember? We went and saw them up in Utah.
Utah, yeah.
Yeah, the CEO resigned right like a month and a half or 2 months after we went and saw the company. But the stock's been ripping lately. The stock's been ripping. If Jason were on this right now, he'd be saying, because they've been ripping the last couple days. That's where they take oil out of the ground through steam and through other process, et cetera. How are you involved in VivaCore?
I'm a representative of them, so I promote their business.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's one of the alternative investments that I partnered with.
Oh, really? Is that to build those machines?
Yeah.
Those are interesting.
And it's a fixed rate of return. There's zero market risk in it. So,
Right.
there's no down, 12% fixed rate of return.
And those are the machines that take the oil out and separate it, et cetera.
Yeah, they have one in, we're shipping one over to Kuwait. There's one in there right now. They're just
Right.
taking the oil out of soil over there.
Right.
But the one in the Utah, what they do is they separate it out, and then they're going to sell they take the oil and they
It's
make
the
asphalt.
Yeah. We know the story. Yeah, we were literally there. we flew up for the day, spent some time with them.
Yeah, it's really good.
Because I was interested in what they were doing.
They're doing
there.
one in Texas right now. They're putting 2 machines down in Texas.
Yeah. We have oil and gas properties that we're part of through a drilling program in Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. We actually just drilled our first successful well in Mississippi, and we're on our second well now. And so, but we're more traditional. We partner with a drilling company. We know them really well, White River. We made a very big investment, and now we're pretty happy. We're going to drill about approximately 100 wells down there in that area.
Well, any leakage you get around the side, that's where VivaCore comes in.
Yeah. Well, they get in Utah. You're talking about the sands, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of oil in those sands. They just take that sand up. We watched them do it. It's pretty fascinating for sure. How does someone get a hold of you?
BBigFinancial.com. So BBIGFinancial.com. Go into my website, and then there's a contact us section. Put your information in. We'll get back to you really quickly. This is all free education to everyone.
But you can be hired to help them, show them how to raise capital
For
right?
business funding, absolutely.
Right. So you basically show them tools they can use to get business funding.
We guarantee them funding.
Oh, really?
Yes. So when you get into our program, we guarantee you a minimum of $250,000. You just got to work with us to help get your business to qualify. So we're kind of like the coaches,
Wow.
teaching them how to do this.
Wow. So you walk them through the process and you help them get 250 at least.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right. Wish I would have known you earlier in my days when I was trying to get 50 grand.
You don't need me now.
No, those days are over. I actually saw someone comment 400 million from selling Niles shares. What would be the point of being public, my friend? If that's that comment, Robert, is an education. All companies only go public for liquidity events. If they're founders and they want to make money like let's say a Bill Gates did, they eventually sell their stock. Or they raise capital and go public. And so to be public, you're raising capital to grow the business. And we've grown the asset base to $600 million. That's the point. Now, the market's not valuing it the way I would value it, but that's not up to me. That's up to the market to value. But you're not ranting when you suggest that if you read our business plan, if you read the things we published on 8Ks, our decks, the things we talked about, we told you we were going to raise the money. The strangest thing I ever experienced is all the ranting that people give me about what I've done when I tell you exactly what I'm going to do. I literally put it in a deck, and we have quarterly and annual calls where we say our plans are to raise this much money. I don't know why that's new to anybody. And the market has just chose to not value the company the way we get. So we just said we're contemplating an exchange offer where we'll take your common shares and put you in another security. And obviously you don't have an obligation to do that. You can choose whether you want to stay in the common stock or whether you want to go into a different type of security that pays a different rate. But we're going to continue our business plan. Some people are going to value it. Some people are not. It makes no sense to me. But one of the things we're doing right now is we have a special dividend of one of our divisions, a company that's public now. The company's called Imperalis, but it's changing its name to TurnOnGreen. And at the end of the month, the contemplation is that we're going to have a record date of December 30th and then pay it out sometime in January. We're going to be issuing 2 dividends. One is our defense company and one is our EV business. So we're trying to return capital to shareholders, but our price has been crushed relative. Well, then again, so has there's tons of stocks that are like, what's that one bicycle company?
Peloton?
Soul Cycle. What's it called? Peloton. That's down 90%. I mean, there's some individual names from peak to trough that are crushed. And so did they make sense at 120 or they make sense at $5? I don't know.
Sure.
But I always get alarmed by people suggesting you sold stock to raise money. Yes, that's what we said we were doing. That's right. We did exactly what we said we were going to do. And then we went and bought stuff with it that we think are going to be worth more valuable. Like you'd buy life insurance, yes. Right? Mm-hmm. Like you'd get when a small business gets funding, they're either borrowing the money or they're selling stock or ownership, right? And we sold ownership to other people to buy businesses that we think are going to be more valuable in the future. It's really that simple. What's the average client like for you? Like when you think of the average person, is it a female, a male? Are they 30 years old? Are they 50 years old?
I have a lot more ladies that are coming.
A lot more ladies.
Because they want to start their own business.
A lot more ladies starting their own business.
Yeah. And it's now, a lot of them work from home. That's going to disqualify you for funds. However, you can still work from home. We just have to strategically put it on paper correctly.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say. Yeah, they got to know how to present it right.
Absolutely.
And they can't have the mailbox that like mailboxes, et cetera.
Yeah, 110%.
They actually have to have a professional business.
Yes.
But the government hasn't really caught up to the sign of the times where people work at home. They still want you to have that address, that location you can go to.
As long as you have a brick and mortar address.
Right.
And you have to have a phone number associated with it.
It's not like you have a mailbox, et cetera, or something
no,
like
can't do that.
I'm dating myself. It's now called the UPS store, right? Well, it tells you how I've been doing this.
You can't have a P.O. box or any of those things.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
And like I said, that's one of the 27 mistakes. And that's why we eliminate.
One of the 27 mistakes is not setting your businesses up right so that you're in a position to get funding.
Financial literacy is a problem in this country.
Let me tell you something. Financial literacy is not only a problem, it is a crisis.
Yes.
I cannot believe the number of questions I get and the lack of reading people do, and then the conclusions they come to. I think the Robin Hoods of the world have made this far worse because they gamified the ability to trade or to borrow money, and I literally am blown away by what I thought with the advent of the internet, it would be easier for people to get educated. And what I see is there's such a there's some people, by the way, just to be clear, I saw some people involved with GameStop that they wrote some amazing research, that they really knew how to use the internet and do the research and got educated. And then some that just have no idea whatsoever.
Yeah, and a lot of those people we can help. And nothing against it, just when you're talking about that, I always tell people I will not use my money. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying that I won't put money into something.
Right.
I just said I won't use my money. That's where I leverage insurance companies' money.
Well, there's a saying I've said. There's only 3 ways to get rich, and that's to leverage people, leverage time, and leverage money.
Absolutely.
Right. So you're gonna teach them to leverage some of that
and build their wealth at the same time.
Right. So what's like the number one business you see getting started? Like when people come to you and say, "I'm going to start a nail salon or a haircut place, or I'm going to buy a burger joint." What's the number one business?
Small amount on those ones, just because these people don't even realize they need the money. They work their business all the time.
Right.
So they're nothing more than a JOB for their own company, and which is okay. But you can't. The name of my company is called BBig, and you can't be big with that type of mindset.
Right.
I mean, you're supposed to work on your business, not in your business.
Sure.
So a lot of the things that we're getting are technology people. They need that extra capital to be able to get to the next level, and real estate investors, because they need that extra money to put down on their next purchase
Right.
that they're going to be doing.
Yeah, I know a person, she's considering going into buying some like apartment buildings and some houses to flip and fix up. Is that a big business too?
Yeah, absolutely. And we can help get funding for that. We have 100% financing to do so.
Really?
What I tell people, instead of, leasing your building, buy it. We can help them get the funds to do that.
Right.
We'll help them put everything together, and it's a collateral-based loan. They're easier to get than it is to try to get working capital.
There's no question about that. No question about it.
That's good that you're saying that. Yeah. Some people don't listen to me when I say that.
Yeah, well,
I used to be a chef. That's the problem.
Really?
And if I could figure this out, so can they.
You were a pastry chef a long time ago.
No, I have a pastry degree and a culinary degree. But
really?
Yeah, most of my time was spent through culinary.
Really?
I love the pastry part because it's a work of art.
There you go.
And then that's where, just all that stuff, because I see like when you have risk on, and there's a lot of that stuff, my whole entire breaking out of the matrix, I follow suit on everything you guys have.
Really?
Absolutely.
Well, it's funny. People say risk on. Risk on is a philosophy that you're going to do something. You're not going to rely on others, but you're going to network with others. You're going to work hard to create something you want to create. That's the whole point,
Absolutely.
right? You first have to start with why, right? Why are you doing it? What are you trying to accomplish? Start with you first, right? And you go from there, and then how do you enroll in people and what they want to do? Because most of the people that work with us all are here for a reason. They have a why as to why they're here.
Yep.
Christy wants to be a producer. Brett's in media. His son's in media. Randy has been involved in warehouse asset and management his whole life. He started younger. Everyone has a skill set. So they all have somewhere where they fit in the pie, right? And then there's a lunatic like me out there in the front taking bullets in the back of the head and trying to blaze a path for the company to move forward.
Sure.
Skylar, you got life insurance yet?
I don't.
Now, life insurance isn't to die,
Yep.
to use.
Yeah.
Skylar's going to get married someday, have kids. Wouldn't you want if something happened to your spouse to have life insurance? What happens?
I totally would, and it's something I'm going to do.
Right, but
100%.
so the younger the better. So when do you think people should get started?
Day 15.
That's what I bought life insurance for all 4 of my kids in the first year that they were born. But I didn't realize in the beginning they won't really sell you life insurance. In the right out of the gate, they won't. You got to wait a little bit.
Day 15.
Yeah, and the optimal date in terms of when a child is the most insurable is at 10 years old.
My mom might have on me. I'm
think?
sure she does. I'm actually probably sure she does. Yeah, and my brother.
And then just when you guys are talking about life insurance, you're talking about buying life insurance to pass away, meaning there's a death benefit on there. It's not designed that way. The ultra wealthy use life insurance, so they buy it on their children to start building up a bank for them. They'll never put their child in debt.
I'm gonna help you with something that not help you, but I'm gonna I'm going to give you an example of why I really believe in what you're talking about. So I'm going to leave the names out because some of my friends would know who this person is, but I'll just leave the name out for this. So I have a friend of mine who was a very, very wealthy doctor. I mean, really wealthy. He started developing golf courses, and he did them with Jack Nicholson. Is it Nicholas? Nicholas is the golfer. Nicholson is the actor, right? And he ended up having AIG do a wrapper, and he put his assets in the life insurance. He put his golf course, which is like $100 million, then his second golf course in there, and then he put an insurance policy around it for his family so they would inherit it all tax-free effectively. He paid the estate taxes, and the life insurance trust held and owned the golf courses.
There you go.
And I was mesmerized. He was telling me all about it. I'm like, wait a second. Your life insurance trust, which he funded, by the way, he put in a lot of cash.
Sure.
So he invested in the wrapper with AIG. And in his life insurance trust owned the land. The golf courses leased it from his life insurance trust, so they paid him a management fee and a rent on the land. And it was administered by a trustee, and it was all owned by his life insurance policies.
It's a strategy.
Yeah, and he had something like $200 million in it, and when he died, boom, tax-free.
Absolutely.
As
And you could borrow against it tax-free. All that growth.
Oh,
you're
no.
getting in
He
there,
was very
everything.
clear with me what he could do. Yeah. He invested with me that way.
Yeah, that's right, absolutely. And that's
so his
how,
investments were held by the life insurance trust.
that's how I invest in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Meaning I won't use my money. That's what I'll use.
Oh, there you go.
You put it into life insurance, you take it out, now you put it in Bitcoin. If you end up losing, you didn't lose your money.
Right.
But if you win, man, great investment opportunity.
Look, this
That's
is
how
a-
you gamble in Vegas.
Yeah, this is another example. I want to see how our Bitcoin is held. Don't trust Crypto Joe, Sam Bankman-Fried, Todd. Show me the money. This is an example that you don't read, because if you read our filings, you'd see we hold it at Gemini, and it's held in a custodian account. We can't touch it. It's just like, do you really want to know? Because if you wanted to know, you'd read the filings. I don't believe anybody really wants to know anymore. All the people that are questioning me are not actually reading it. That's what I've learned. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm grateful you're a shareholder, but I don't think you really want to know. What you really want to do is say you don't trust me. But if you didn't trust me, read the audited financials. Don't listen to me. Read the financials. Oh, by the way, FTX didn't have audited financials. Thank you very much. They didn't even have a board of directors that were independent. And yet, really smart people gave that guy billions of dollars. And I mean, trust me, if I were Sam Bankman-Fried right now, let's say that Todd Ault were the ones that pulled off this thing in the Bahamas with this guy, there'd be no delay. These guys would have me in handcuffs. There'd be no delay. They would have fried my ass. I wonder what's going on there. I mean, you think that my auditors question everything we do. I could barely get a ham sandwich.
Sure.
I mean, literally, Skyla has to detail every expense I have for internal audit. I mean, it's insanity what I'm hearing this guy's got away with. I can't lend myself money. Sarbanes-Oxley would fry me.
Sure.
That's just insanity what's happened. If any of the stuff with FTX is even remotely true, and I will reserve judgment. You guys saw me with Anthony Scaramucci the other day. Anthony flat out said he did it. He said Sam SBF took the money and lent it to other people and did all this kind of crazy shit. If it were me, they would have kicked my ass. I mean, I'd be dead. But this guy's down in the Bahamas doing interviews telling everyone I'm as honest as I intended to be. Intended to be honest. That's what he said, or something like that. I could be at the time. I know what I was talking about. Anyways, I'm just having fun. I love all you guys. I'm just having a good time. My man, don't worry about the Bitcoin. We have it held in a custodial trust. We can't touch it. It takes two-party verification, and it's one for one. We don't borrow against it. We don't leverage against it. With that particular coin, I mean, we've taken out loans that say, hey, you got to pay us back and sell your Bitcoin, but we don't leverage it up and give it out to other people and stuff like that. I don't know. That was a little rant. I go on a rant once in a while.
That's okay.
You've never been on the show, so you're like, what the hell's going on? Who are you talking to? I'm talking to everyone out there. We have about 47,000 shareholders. And that's the problem with doing a live show is that I've learned that there's a certain group of people that don't really, they just want to antagonize me a little bit. But I'm okay. I'm a big boy.
Absolutely.
I'm okay with being antagonized. But I will only be antagonized with the facts. So the facts is that, Bernard, you think people can get business funding and you will help them get the first $250,000.
Absolutely.
I think it's a huge offer, everybody. And we're going to put in the bottom in the comments section Bernard's contact information. Obviously, we don't endorse any financial advisors, but we wouldn't have Bernard on the show if we didn't like what he had to say. You guys got to do your own research. You're here in Henderson, which is a very competitive state for tax purposes, for personal taxes. I moved from California to here. You get a lot of people moving from other states now. I bet you dealing with a lot of people coming in.
Yeah, well, like people from California.
We're all from
which
California.
is pretty much a lot of your
Right.
Business-wise, it doesn't matter. You can do business in California, but incorporate here.
But for you, though, do you help people all over?
All over the United States.
So you're available to help them in all 50 countries?
All 50
states. Sorry.
states.
Whoops. Oops.
And we could do foreign nationals, too, just so you know.
Really?
However, it's not a U.S.-based business, but we could help them get equity in their company.
Really?
They'll have to give up some equity, though.
Wow. Got it. Appreciate it, man. All right, we're going to go to a market real quick update. What I would continue to say is that, what happened today is the Fed basically is talking about still raising rates. I personally have I personally know through what's happening with crypto. Let's put this in proper perspective. If it were a year ago when we were in Dubai, we were trying to raise money from certain crypto companies, they wouldn't give us the time of the day. When they call us and they want a loan from us, things are not good for them. And you see this flight to quality. So you see the Dow at close to 34,000. You see the S&P around 4,000. But you don't really understand how bad the small cap market has been annihilated. The small to middle cap market's been crushed. The VIX is not that high. I don't really get it. I think I think crypto, I don't know if it's still holding a 17. I'm going to pull it up, but earlier today it was like 17,200. It's back to it's effectively 17,000, 16,969. That's a good sign, but obviously you have all these bears coming out saying it's going to 5,000, 9,000, 3,000. I don't know that that's really going to matter. Today I saw someone come out with a target that was 250,000 within a year and a half. And I wouldn't even mention his name except he's very credible. But I just think we have a lot of this washout to still happen. This is what happens when something gets really financially leveraged, where there was a lot of free money, a lot of loose money out there, and now people are kind of unwinding. And you're not seeing really any bounce in some of these stocks. They're really under a lot of pressure. One thing I noted interesting is that Ford got an order from DHL today. So Ford not only is making cargo vans that are EV, but you got Rivian, which Ford had a stake in, and of course, obviously, there's a lot of other people out there making cargo. I just think that's really interesting to see Ford get that order from DHL. A lot of competition picking up there. We talked about Bernard Baruch. Is that how you say his name?
Yes.
Or is it Bill Baruch? Sorry. Anyways, a lot of comments on automation for next year, sort of what's going to be exciting in the next year ahead. One of the things I saw for sure that I was interested in is, I don't know if you pay any attention to this, Bernard, is it looks like the Supreme Court could likely rule that Biden forgiving those student loans is unconstitutional.
Good.
But you get a lot of feedback on that? I mean, because I get a lot of people telling me, well, I paid my student loan and others just get it for free. And it seems like to me that came out and he did that right before the election.
Yeah, I'm not going to go too deep into politics, but yeah, absolutely. I don't agree with any of that.
Right. So that's an interesting thing to me. Let's see here. I do agree, by the way, with some of these things talking about that there should be a crypto regulator. I just don't know why, as a government, we don't put the regulation in place. All of us that are legitimate in Bitcoin want there to be regulation. I just don't know why we don't do it. None of us, anybody who's credible and really wants there to be a successful Bitcoin business, and I'm Bitcoin centric. I'm not into all the other cryptos, but I just don't know why the government just doesn't put simple regulation in place for it now. Just some basic guidelines, or give the SEC some authority, or give the CFTC some authority. I don't know what the hang-up is. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm just seeing if there's anything else that's interesting. I'm Yeah, Dan Niels is out there saying things could get ugly again. He's a pretty smart guy for sure. Los Angeles, I think this is interesting. They ban oil and gas drilling within the city limits. Do you follow anything about EV at all? One of the things I find the most interesting is that no one's paying attention to. California wants to ban gas vehicles, but they'll need almost 10x what they need now in power to service the EV vehicles.
And they shut down all the time.
And then a day later, after they said they want to do that, they said, please turn off your power right now. Don't charge your EV vehicles.
Yep.
Am I living in a vortex of it doesn't even make any sense to me. Something else that doesn't make sense to me is the way the market's reacting right now. Higher rates are going to lead to a revaluation of all stocks. I don't know why we're debating this. If you follow this show and you watched it last January, February, March, April, when we raised that money in March, when BitNile Holdings raised that $150 million, and we said we think things could get bad, don't fight the Fed. I don't know why this is a surprise. And until the Fed starts stops repricing assets, because with higher rates becomes lower priced assets. I don't know have you experienced anything in Nevada about, because to me, Nevada prices are still big. I mean, do you see any slowdown in real estate at all?
No. Like I said, in all across the country, I mean, it's still, because I'm working with a lot of real estate investors, the interest is going up a little bit and they're not going to make as much, but they're still buying.
All right, we're going to get to Skylar's joke, but let me give you an update real quickly. I can't comment much on BitNile Holdings. We have a contemplated tender offer, exchange offer out there, contemplated exchange offer. If you read that press release very carefully, it kind of outlines the dollar value we expect. Please take a look at that. I can't say anything till that's publicly filed. I can say for you that the dividend of IMHC, TurnOnGreen, the warrants and the common stock, the record date is set for 12/30. If anything changes, we'll let you know. Then after that, we'll do the Gresham, the Giga dividend of the defense business after that. And then we'll get into a lot of other things after that. We got a lot of assets. We've said for a long time that some of these are going to be dividended out as a reward to shareholders. Obviously, you, like I, am disappointed in where the price is. Not a lot I can do about that. I've been buying back stock at Alt Alpha, buying stock using Alt Alpha for the last year. Hasn't made much of a difference. I don't know. But we're steadfast on building what we're building. We didn't have the same problems as other Bitcoin companies. So we've gotten lucky in the sense that we didn't have our Bitcoin lent out to that hedge fund, or we didn't have it with Sam Bankman-Fried. We didn't have money deposited at FTX. But I sure got a lot of push. And I kept saying to myself, I don't understand how you can stake someone and get yield. And these yield rates are so ridiculous. Where's the money coming from? Well, now we're learning that if it's too good to be true, it probably is, right? That's probably you know what's funny about life insurance? I've invested in life insurance for so long and have so much money saved up in those policies. And it's the steady as you go. Albert Einstein, one of the greatest inventions ever. One of the wonders of the world is compounding interest. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you just got to let that play itself out, and sometimes it takes a year. Sometimes it takes years for things to become a great thing. I mean, it really does compound over time when you don't have to pay those taxes.
That's the vehicle that you got to use.
Right.
Absolutely. And it's just, I call it the marathon.
Right.
So the longer you use it, the bigger and stronger it gets.
Right, for sure.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, even starting a business, you got to start out. You got to build it. It's got to move. It's got to, take some time.
All right. So when on the version that is not live, we're going to have his phone number here. We'll give his address out. We can get all that on there, right, Christy? Bernard, I appreciate you being here. Skyla.
Yes.
What do you got? Because I know you had a good one the other day.
Oh, I don't remember what that one was, but I do have a different one.
Okay.
Did you know that humans eat more bananas than monkeys?
No.
When's the last time you saw a human eat a monkey?
Oh, God. Okay. All right, everybody. I don't know when we'll be back next. I'll be traveling. I don't know when we'll be back next, but we'll let you know. Pay attention. Check out ToddAult.com. You can go to the bottom and put your phone number in there, and we will. I promise you, we will not text you to death. We will send you a text whenever the show is going to go live. We probably do something on Friday, my birthday week.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be older and I hope a little wiser.
Older, we can't stop.
All right, go Steelers. I know they're not going to make the play. They're not going to make the playoffs this
That's
year.
okay as long as we don't have a losing season. I'm okay with that.
Oh, you think we won't have a losing season?
Well, it's our goal, because we haven't had one in a long time. So let's not have one now.
I like when you're not going to make the playoffs that you're a spoiler.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll leave you with BitNile because I have so many questions of this. Please read what the meanings of these press releases mean. If you want to ask a question that makes sense around them, I'll try to answer them. It's going to be a really busy month. Obviously, we announced that we're buying the Crane Company, a big acquisition for us. We're pretty excited about that. Obviously, the company continues to grow. We gave a forecast. Oh, there's a picture of the cranes. We gave a forecast of, I believe, $200 million for 2023, and that is with TurnOnGreen and Gresham being off our books. So it could be an interesting year. I know that some people think the world is coming to an end with Bitcoin. The world is coming to an end with the economy. But I assure you, the world will only come to an end one time. And if you're smart enough to know when that is, please let me know. Everyone, risk on. We'll see you again in a couple days. Take care.